Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the Only Male Cruise. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the Only Male Cruise. Hey, listen, today's episode, the attorney's response to the motion dismissal. So RKelly's new attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, submitted a motion for acquittal or a new trial. The judge responded and dismissed without prejudice because the package was too long. It had too many pages, etc. So she dismissed without prejudice and asked the attorney to reduce the page sizes, etc. So the attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, has responded. Let's get into it. So, the beginning of the letter, Dear Judge Donnelly, with apologies, undersigned counsel seeks leave to file an oversized memorandum of law in support of defendant's Rule 29 motion. Specifically, defendant seeks leave to file a 56-page memorandum of law. Defendant was indicted for racketeering based on 14 predicate acts, not including subparts. Many of those predicate acts were Mann Act violations that charged defendant with committing discrete illegal sexual activity. All told, the government charged defendant with violating nearly 20 different crimes, all with their own elements. The jury charge was 153 pages long. Undersigned counsel requires 56 pages to completely raise all meritorious challenges to the government's proof for several reasons. Now, the judge, in her dismissal, wants the refiling to be no more than 20 pages or so. So the letter further goes on to state, first, the trial was a lengthy one, roughly 7 weeks. The trial record exceeds 5,000 pages. Under the Rule 29 standard, defendant must devote significant space to discussing the government's evidence as to each element of the charged offenses. Second, RICO cases are complex, particularly this one where the government's use of the statute to address the conduct charged is unprecedented. For example, defendant raises serious challenges to whether the government proved an enterprise. A comprehensive discussion of this question alone requires 20 pages. Defendant also raised non-frivolous challenges to each and every racketeering act charged. This requires a protracted discussion, in part because the government's creative use of the Mann Act. Just by way of example, the government charged defendant with committing violations of public health laws in 2 different states. Those statutes alone have their own unique elements. Defendant challenges the sufficiency of the evidence as to those offenses and further lodges constitutional challenges to the statuses which require a fair amount of discussion. Finally, this memorandum of leave is lengthy because defendant raises legal, let's get into it. We're almost at the end. Because the defendant raises legal challenges to the charged offenses that have never been argued or considered by this court. In short, there is much to discuss in this unique case, and defendant must preserve his challenges for appellate review through a Rule 29 motion. Accordingly, defendant requests leave to file an oversized memorandum of law, 56 pages. Respectfully submitted, Jennifer Bonjean. And you know what's so interesting about it is they have to ask for that because in order for RKelly to have his day in court on an appeal, if he doesn't get a retrial, etc., in order for him to appeal, he has to be able to challenge all of the things that his attorney has indicated in the motion, actually. So Stay on top. Oh, and before we leave, I do want to make you aware. Look at the ticker, y'all. All of this information is being contributed by infamous Sylvia. Be sure to follow her on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. She is generously providing this information because RKelly did not get a fair trial. Check out the other videos on my channel. Check out infamous Sylvia's videos. He had jurors seated in his case in New York, and they were truly, they were not worthy to have that seat. They were not, they shouldn't have been there. So with that being said, Sylvia is working hard. So her Cash App is on the feed that you see running across the bottom of the screen. If it moves your heart, go ahead and make it rain on Sylvia's, infamous Sylvia's Cash App, just so that she can continue to gather these court documents and transcripts and help to keep this channel over here lit, but also help us to keep this word out. It doesn't matter if you think RKelly's guilty or not. The bottom line is he did not get a fair trial, period, point blank. So that's it. That's the podcast. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, because you know I want to hear from you. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Welcome to the Only Male Cruise Show, the podcast. I am the Only Male Cruise. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work.